Hey everybody, I'm Katie McDoyle and this is... Hey everybody and welcome to this week's episode. How are you all doing? I hope you're all well out there. This week in the UK we've been battling Storm Kieran. So there is a lot of damage around. There's been a lot of flooding. There's still a lot of flooding. It's still torrentially raining as I speak outside, and the storm hit a couple of days ago now. And I just hope you're all safe and well out there. And if you can, if the weather has cleared where you are, I hope you're out digging. Here it is still very, very waterlogged. So I'm not sure if I'm going to get out. I might try and get out in the morning just for a couple of hours. Don't even mind if I get very muddy. I just want to get outside, so I'm going to go for it. What have I been doing this week? If you follow me on Instagram or the podcast on Instagram, you'll see that I finally got my new full-size spade. So I went with the Emma D140 stainless spade. Girl that digs, Sophie, recommended this one to me. I needed something that was lightweight. This one weighs 1.4 kilograms. And yeah, it's really light. It's 83.5 centimeters long. I'm 5'4" and it's the perfect height for me. The only thing I've noticed is that it doesn't have a rubber grip on the handle, so that's going to get quite cold through the winter. But then I've had a look and you can get some silicone rubber tape that you can just tape over the handle, and then that'll prevent me from getting absolutely frozen hands when it's all frosty in the deep depths of winter. Let's quickly talk some stats. So I just wanted to let you all know, thank you for being a listener, a loyal listener. You're all doing wonders, helping to share the podcast, get the word out there that it exists. So some stats I wanted to let you know about, because I've been sharing these on Instagram, and you're not all on Instagram. I know some of you are listening from all over the world. So I just wanted to let you know that the first episode, of course, aired on the 2nd of September with the Grim Bleeper. And since then, we have made it to position 181 in the podcast charts under the history section in the UK, and position 89 in Sweden. Hi, Sweden. Who knew I'd be so popular in Sweden? Well, it's not me. It's our wonderful guests that are popular in our stories that we share. So thank you. We've got listeners now in 17 countries, 5 continents. It blows my mind. And just hello to all of you. And reach out, say hi. Come on the podcast. We'd love to hear what it's like metal detecting, history hunting, beach combing, fossil hunting in your country. So come on. Just to lift a little bit of the hood on podcasting, when you're doing a podcast, you get shown loads of stats by your podcast provider. So we are hosted by Acast, and then things like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, they tell you your stats. So I just wanted to share with you, because I found this really interesting, that gender-wise, the podcast is currently listened to an audience that's made up of 19% females, 79% males, 0.2% non-binary, and 2% that haven't specified. So that's really interesting. Do you think that fits with what you see out and about in the fields? Do you think that's the makeup of the people doing metal detecting? 19% female, 79% male? Let me know what you think. And then in terms of age ranges, so a little list here, but I'll run through it in case you don't see any of the posts that I put on Instagram regarding this. 18 to 22-year-olds, 0.4%, 23 to 27-year-olds, 11.4%, 28 to 34-year-olds, 18.27%, so it's starting to go up here. 35 to 44-year-olds, this is the largest group at 36.95%. 45 to 59-year-olds, 24.7%. And then the age range on this last one made me giggle, because it's between 60 and 150 years old. Not sure we've got 150-year-old people out there, but that's 7.63%. And then 0.6% of an unknown age. If you were wondering, that didn't add up to 100. So there you go. Also, a big thank you to everybody for the ratings. So we've got 9 ratings on Apple Podcasts, 9 rating on Spotify as well. All 5 stars. Really lovely comments on there. Can't thank you enough. In order to attract the sponsorship, we just need to keep getting the listener numbers up and the ratings in. So thank you. Without further ado, let's go to this week's guest. We've got Emma Youell, Emloveoldstuff on Instagram. It's a fantastic interview. Enjoy. Welcome to the Detecting History podcast, everybody. This week, I've got the wonderful Emma Youell. Am I pronouncing that right, Emma?
Yes.
From Emloveoldstuff. I love your handle on Insta. It just does what it says on the tin, doesn't it? Emloveoldstuff.
It was one of those handles that I thought deep and hard about, but I wanted to be different. I just didn't want to be like Emma metal detecting or something, or because it was not my Instagram is purely not just about metal detecting. It is about old stuff and
Yeah.
other things. So I wanted to try and say like I do other stuff as well.
All encompassing. Well, it works perfectly. And you've just hit, I've seen today on Insta, you've got 4,500 followers. Nice round number, unless it's gone up
Ooh,
already. So, yeah, those numbers are ticking up. So, welcome. Thank you for coming on.
thank you.
Been trying to get you on for ages. So, I'm glad the day is finally here. Tell us, which region of the UK are you based in?
So I am in Kent, so in the southeast region.
Ah, lovely. So lots of history down there. And is the ground down there quite flinty and chalky?
Yes, yeah, we have quite a lot of flint fields, especially right in the centre of Kent. As you get a bit further towards the coast, I suppose you get more clay fields. There are certainly areas which are very, very sticky because the clay consistency is just, yeah, and it's one of those when you try to avoid going in the rain because your boots just pick up a few more kilograms of mud because the clay sticks to them. So
That's right.
it
Yeah.
does vary. We've been on sandy soil as well, so I would say it does vary quite a bit down this way.
Yeah. I'm yet to try the trick of putting big old socks, woolly socks over the welly boots, and apparently it stops them collecting so much mud. I haven't tried that
My
yet.
friend does it, and he says it works.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, but then you can get in a situation where if the socks become loose, then they're then dragging along the ground, and yeah, I'll just stick with using my spade to unstick the mud. That's fine by me.
That's the best way, isn't it? Otherwise, we'll all end up sort of commando style crawling along on our elbows trying to detect. Excellent. So what's your history in the? We'll talk about metal detecting part of your history finding that you do. What's your history? How did you get into detecting?
So way back when I was younger, I was actually raised by my grandparents, and every Sunday around dinner time, we would watch Time Team.
Oh yes.
And that was like a weekly thing. That's what we did as a family. We all sat in front of the telly, watched Time Team dinner, etc. And that is where my love of history started. Watching that, and I thought I want to be an archaeologist when I'm older.
Yeah.
And it was even one of those days at school where you're told to come in and non-school uniform day, but we had to go in as like an occupation. Yeah. And I said to my grandparents, I want to go in as an archaeologist.
Oh, brilliant.
So they put me in these tatty jeans, a really thick like woolly jumper, and they gave me a utility belt and put like little tools and things on it. So that's where it all started.
Oh,
and
so cool.
I was quite young. Yeah. And then I started detecting about 8 years ago. So it was about 8 years ago I looked at just buying a detector, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to buy one. I'm going to message a local club and see if I can go along. And I was really lucky that they said that they'd wanted to get a few more women in the club at the time. So I was invited along to go, and I probably was the only lady there on the day. But it was brilliant, and I was accepted straight into the club, and yeah, it was fantastic to go along and just take part straight away.
Oh, wonderful. And you've it's opened many doors and many avenues for you, and obviously you're a big history lover anyway. What else have you been up to?
So I used to work in the City of London. So when I was up there, my office was literally on the Thames, so I could look out of my window where I sat and see other mudlarkers along the Thames. So of course, had to try and get a permit to get in. So this was before all the permits got restricted. So a few years ago now, but when I used to work in the city, because I don't now, I used to do a bit of mudlarking. I'd go out and meet a few people on the banks of the river.
Lovely.
At lunchtime, if I was lucky, the tide would sync up with my lunch, so I could go out and have a little wander. So I was really lucky in that sense. I had that right on my doorstep. Otherwise, now I'm more. I don't live near the coast myself, so it's a bit of a journey to get to the coast, but I do get involved with, beachcombing and fossil hunting and things like that. And I love going to search for fossils and it's just really good fun stuff and always a great day out.
Yeah, absolutely. So you, like a lot of people we've had on, you're a finder of things, aren't you? It's not the one thing, but it's the finding of the thing that you love. I really want to get back into beachcombing and fossil hunting. When I was a kid, where I grew up, Bedfordshire way, the big allotment patch as part of our family garden was just full of fossils. I had a massive collection. Unfortunately, we moved down to Devon and my collection went missing. So I always think of this massive collection of fossils I had. Yeah, and I need to get back into it. So that's on my list of things to do. Get back beachcombing, also a bit of mudlarking would be good as well. But as you say, the licenses are all restricted at the moment. But that's the dream, being from corporate land myself, to be able to go out and get a bit of mudlarking done when the tides are right on your lunch break. That's perfect. That must have been wonderful. What was one of your favourite finds from one of your lunch break expeditions?
Probably a piece of tesserae. Like the Roman floor mosaic, and just completely by chance, I'd gone down, and there was already people there before me, because by the time I got out for lunch, the tide was already out. So I was just having a little mooch around, and it just appeared right in front of me, and I kind of was like, am I seeing this for real? And picked it up, and I was studying it just to make sure it was what I thought it was. And I was like, it is. It's two like just two square, as in like the form of it was obviously a piece of tesserae of what it was. And I didn't know anyone around me at the time, but I was like, oh, I've just found this. And of course, when I go back to the office, I'm trying to show how exciting the thing I found is, and they're just all a bit like, just you bring in the mud in again.
Oh, that's great, Em. Stop traipsing the mud through the office, please. Oh, that's wonderful. That's really awesome. So back to detecting then. You've been detecting about 8 years. What's your detecting gear been throughout those years, and where are you now? What are you rocking these days?
So when I first started out, I bought a Technetics Eurotech Pro.
Oh, yes.
So yeah, it was a Technetics machine, and I had that for 2 years because I also wanted to buy a machine that was, it was affordable, it would still do the job, and it was something to get me through, just in case I thought metal detecting isn't for me. It was a great starting machine, and within 3 months of using that machine, I actually found gold with it. So I was super chuffed that I found that, and I was finding things, and it did keep me going. So after about 2 years, that's when I upgraded to a Deus 1. Which most of the people I knew were using that machine at the time, so I had to go to that. And spades, I've been for a few of those. So when I first started out, it's off to B&Q and go and buy the spade. And then you realise, you start looking at other people in the field, and you're like, oh, that's a bit fancy, that looks good, and oh, that one's quite short, it's not like my old gardening spade here. So then I went for a shorter one, as I'm quite a short, petite lady, so I wanted it to be lightweight as well. And then I won one on a raffle, a Blackadder red spade. So I really stuck with that for a long time, because it was a really good, lightweight, sturdy spade, and it had these little pegs on it. And if you've ever seen me detect, you'll see me, and I have this thing where I go over and jump on my spade, because I can't often get the spade in with just a little shove. So I will literally jump on those pegs. So those pegs, really handy for me.
Brilliant. That's a top tip.
It is. Spades with pegs. But now the spade I use is Optimist spade. And again, that's got like reinforced pegs on the actual spade bit. So again, plenty of space for jumping.
Love that. And it the pegs help, I guess, with the soles of your shoes as well, because sometimes the actual, the edge of the spade at the top can be a bit sharper, can't it? And over time, you sort of wear through your boots a bit.
Definitely, and making sure you've got good, sturdy, thick-based boots as well. I normally, like in the summer, use walking boots. And then in the winter, sometimes get like those muck style boots. I don't use the actual muck ones, but very similar type of boot to that, and with a nice thick sturdy boot, so there's no going through those.
Yeah, no going through those, and also hopefully not getting too wetter feet as well, because the grass, even if it's shorter grass in the winter, obviously with the dew and everything, it soon soaks you, doesn't it? So are you still on the Deus one now?
So now I've got Deus 2, and I've had that for just over a year now. I mainly wanted to switch over to it just because of the advanced technology that it would use, not because of like, what they claim it's this much deeper or, this much faster. Okay, maybe, but I just wanted, like, the box itself has updated technology, so I just wanted it purely because of that. I was doubtful at first. Obviously, I'd been used to my Deus 1 for so long. I knew it had been finding me amazing things, and when I started using the 2, I was like, it's not the same. It is not the same. But fortunately, I had a really good day. Well, I actually had my best day of metal detecting so far with the Deus 2. I found bronze, silver, and gold all in the same day.
Whoa.
So yes, it really convinced me then. I was like, yes, Deus 2, love it.
That's the way to put a big tick in the box, isn't it? The bronze, silver, and gold on the same day. That must have been an epic day. How did you do the software update on your Deus 2? Because I've heard mixed things about the software update and whether you should do it or not. And I'm thinking about upgrading, and because I'm an XP user, it would be probably for me to go to the Deus 1 or the Deus 2. Might as well make the leap. What's your recommendation on that?
I've not updated to the most recent updates. I think there was an update a couple of weeks ago, and I've not updated to that just yet because I try and hold out just for a little bit, just so when there is a whole batch of people updating and they report all these bugs, hopefully that, if I wait a little bit, they'll get those bugs cleared and improve that update. And by the time I come around to update it, it will be fine. But I haven't done the most recent update.
No, that's a good tip just in life generally, depending on what phone you got, everything. I'm always excited when an update's coming, and I know it's coming because you think, oh, it's going to, improve things. But I do try and wait a little bit, try and be patient so that you know that there's not going to be additional bugs introduced. That's a good top tip. And then what about your pinpointer? Have you got the MI6 or something like that?
Yep. So I started out with Garrett. I think most people do.
Yeah.
And then, when I got the Deus, I went to the MI6, obviously. Amazing pinpointer, just because it pairs with your machine and it comes through your headphones, so you can actually hear it in your headphones. That's what I love about it. It's all, it's compatible with it. And it's compatible with the Deus 1 as well. And you don't even need to repair it, which is, because when I went out on a dig last weekend and I had stupidly left my Deus 2 coil at home. Had my Deus 1 coil with me, had my Deus 1 machine, so I thought, go out the Deus 1, turn my pinpointer on, it automatically, is detected on the 1.
Oh, brilliant.
And I didn't have to do anything. And then I could easily switch back to the 2 and it would still pick it up on that one. So there's no messing about with that, which is really, really good.
That's really good, isn't it? Simple things like that, the ease of use for the user. Yeah, that's brilliant. Good to hear. And then when you go out and about, I always ask you, are you the type that will take a backpack and you've got everything in your backpack and your finds bag, or do you prefer to travel lighter?
I used to take everything in a backpack. I used to carry a backpack with like an extra jumper in, because I'm always one that suffers from the cold. I used to pack my lunch in it and all that sort of stuff. But now I don't like carrying the backpack. I've got the finds pouch, so I will stuff it full of snacks just to make sure, like, if I'm all the way the other end of the field, I have got a snack. But now I don't really like carrying the backpack. I like to be free around my shoulders now. So, backpack free now.
It's all about comfort, isn't it? Because then you can keep digging that little bit longer, and that's what we all want at the end of the day. So that's your detecting gear. So what clubs are you members of then, Em? Do you want to give a shout out to any of your clubs that you're part of? Anything you want to promote club-wise?
So the very first club I joined was Medway History Finders, and they were the guys that welcomed me in all those years ago, and I first went out detecting with them, and I actually found it very, very hard to join any other clubs but that one, as they always said that memberships were full. They didn't have like any online presence, so it's like you could only get in if you knew the people, which I didn't. So I started detecting with just Medway history finders for a long time, and then I discovered rallies, and I started going out on rallies, meeting more people, and then actually being alerted to more clubs, meeting more people and having access to more clubs. So now there's a Dartford Metal Detector Club. It's been running for quite a few years, but I'm a member of that club, good friends with some of the people there. We used to have the Joan Allen events, which was metal detecting all over Kent, and now we have Cantium Metal Detecting Club, who have a membership, and they are also Kent based. So I try and get out with a few clubs, as well as detect wider in the UK. So like going back to the rallies, or go to the Rodney Cook Memorial Rally, or go to like Just Detect Rally, and just try and spread myself out to try and what I find is that you get different finds in different counties.
Correct.
So I think Kent is very, I wouldn't say famous, but almost famous for the amount of crotal bells that come out down this way.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yes. I've got a whole like bucket full of crotal bells, and I'll go up north somewhere and people are like, I haven't even found one.
Wow.
So I feel like it's really if you travel different places, you find different finds, and I love that about the UK as well, and being attracted to go up to say Lincolnshire or something and finding different things up that way.
Yeah, that's lovely. And that's top tip again, spread your wings, go to the rallies, go everywhere, because it is so different, and you get so used to your own permissions, don't you? And I'm always commenting on the ground conditions here, very flinty in Hampshire. And so when I do go somewhere else, it's just so lovely just to those little experiences as well, how the countryside's different. Like you get the nice stone walls, don't you, as you go up north, whereas down here it's all hedges, every bit of it. So yeah, I agree there, Em. Definitely go and explore where you can.
And that again as well, I've seen so many beautiful scenes just by going to metal detecting digs, like getting up early, traveling to a field in the middle of nowhere, and just some of the wildlife and nature and things that you see you would never see if you didn't do this hobby. And that I love that about that as well.
Yeah, that leads nicely into my next question. What does metal detecting or history hunting in general give to you apart from the obvious?
You know what? There's two sides, I suppose. I love being around other people that share the same enthusiasm as me, and that excites me, because growing up with this interest, you often go into school with people who don't have an interest in history, and they couldn't care less. And then often, like the family you grow up with, they really couldn't care less either. So then to meet actual people who are in the same like bucket as you, and they love history, and they're excited, just as excited as you when you find the coin. That is what, you're bouncing off each other. So it's that sort of social side that I really love about it as well. And metal detecting as well, when I'm out in the field, it just gives me peace as well. And when I'm out in the field, I kind of forget everything else that's going on. I forget about work. I'm there, I'm listening for the beep, I'm just hoping that I find something, and just enjoying my hobby and just absolutely loving it.
Yeah, finding your people, and then that peace and serenity you get from it as well. Here, absolutely. So let's talk about then, Em. I know you found a lot of stuff, and I've been scrolling through your Instagram. Let's try and talk about your best finds.
Best finds. I always get asked this question. I always find it's a really tricky one to answer. I always say my favourite finds. I do have a few favourite finds, and I do probably go back to them quite a lot. But one of my favourite finds has to be a heraldic horse harness pendant. Yes, and it still had the enamelling on it.
Wow!
So I was actually in Norfolk when I found that, and I remember it coming out, and I picked it up, and I was like, oh my God, is this what I think it is? And I sort of like put my thumb over it really carefully. It is, and it does have some of the enameling still in it. And I didn't even want to touch it after that. I was like, I didn't want to risk any enameling coming off it. So I was like, put it straight in my fines box. And when I got home, gently cleaned it and to the best of my abilities to then reveal the design on it. And it was that point where I was like, you know what, this is amazing. And it was one of those bucket lister finds for me. And then, I was taking photos of it, made sure it was on the Portable Antiquities Scheme database. And I really started to research into it, which for me, that I love that as well. Emailing different, like companies to see if they have this design in their record books, and I've been emailing different people about research for it, and then I even contacted the College of Arms in London to see if they had this, the heraldic pendant design in their library.
Wow.
And they did actually. I had to pay a small fee for the researcher to look it up, but I did actually have a connection made with the pendant.
Wow.
And it was connected to their family name of Seymour. And that for me, I found that absolutely incredible. So just being able to connect that with some part of history, that just, it makes me beam. And it's those sort of items, the personal items that you can then trace back and make a link to. I love those.
Oh, that's fantastic. Being able to get back to the family name, that's wonderful. And again, we always say that you can make as much of the hobby as you like. So, you could have found that and then, reported it and then put it in your finds cabinet, but you kept digging, literally kept digging to find more information about it. That's amazing. No wonder that's one of your favorites.
I love my first ever piece of treasure. So, I found it in Kent, and I dug it out. I remember I dug it out and I was looking at it, and I was probably seconds away from putting it in my pouch as a piece of scrap when suddenly a little glint caught my eye, and I cleared it off a little bit, and it was this shaped object, literally probably about 2 centimeters in length.
Yeah.
And I just saw like a glass eye is what I would describe it as. Ooh. And I just thought, okay, so I cleared it up a little bit more, and the object had 2 amber glass eyes. And I thought, if this is old, they didn't put glass eyes in just, copper or bronze or something. So I managed to clean it up a little bit more, and it was in the shape of a bird. So it was a bird with glass amber eyes.
Wow.
Straight away when I was in the field, I photographed it, sent a picture off to my Flow.
Yeah.
And he replied, and he said, love it, want to see it in It Could Be Treasure.
Yeah.
So I met up with him, and he was like, treasure, so sending it off. And it turned out to be a bird. It was like eating its own tail. It did have amber glass eyes. Ooh. And it was a Saxon pinhead.
Wow.
Yeah. So that, it was milliseconds from going into my scrap pouch.
Yes.
And then, I saw the eyes. So it was actually then saved. And that was my first ever piece of treasure. It took 2 years to go through the system, but I did get that back.
Yeah.
And I have still got it on my shelf.
Oh.
And I'm very, very fond of it, as it was my first piece of treasure.
Oh, I bet you are. Now, you're the second person on the podcast to highlight the necessity to go through your scrap even before you throw it away. Go through, clean it, even if you just think it's a bottle top or something like that. We had Paddy to text on, and he had a bit of scrap that turned out to be some Bronze Age ribbon gold. So it's a similar tale, because when you're out in the field sometimes and you're tired and things are caked on with clayey mud, you don't always see those details, do you?
I often marshal on a dig, and we put scrap buckets out in the field for people to discard their scrap, massive bits of iron and stuff. And occasionally I'll just pop past and I'll have a little look in there. And you know what? I found some amazing things in scrap buckets that people throw away. I'm really into buttons as well. So if I see like a military button or something that someone's put in the scrap bin, I'll take that out. I'll add that to my collection. I quite like buttons, but I've also found in a scrap bucket a dagger shape.
Yeah.
A dagger shape. And it was like, it had a little pattern on it, but I was just like, I can't believe someone's thinking this was scrap. It was like had a pattern on it and everything. So I actually saved that from the scrap bin.
Wow.
So since that point, I always have a little rummage. A friend of mine found a piece of silver in a scrap bin as well, because it obviously looked like a screwed up piece of aluminium or something. But he picked it out and investigated it, and it turned out to be some silver. So
wow, there you go, everybody. That underlines it and triple underlines it for sure. And even like your lead, I've got a little bucket in the garden that I keep covered, but that's my lead bucket, and I'll take that to the scrappy, because then you're recycling as well, aren't you? And you get a little bit of cash in hand. But like you, I love my buttons. I've got my favourite buttons in my cabinet. So like the military buttons, as you say, and then I've even got like the 4-hole buttons and everything in a big old mayonnaise jar, and that in itself is a nice display item. So I love it. Yeah,
I've got the same. Yeah, even the 4-hole ones, I've still got a jar of those. Yeah,
I keep every button. One day I'll run out of space, but not yet. Brilliant. So there's some lovely finds. My follow-up question is always, what's the weirdest thing you've ever found out on your travels?
Weirdest, oddest items. I myself have not found anything like, you hear people finding false teeth or gold teeth, or I've seen those stories. Weirdest, oddest item. You know what? I actually can't think of anything off the top of my head. I think most of the things I find, I can pretty much put in a good explanation.
Yeah, you might just be lucky.
I don't know. Yeah, perhaps I am. Yeah.
Em, what's your favourite history era? I mean, it's hard because you do so much, but do you have one that you're always like, oh yeah, that's my favourite?
So I have been asked this question before, and I actually dilly-dallied around the answer, because for me, when I think about it, and people, or I've been asked, what era would you love to go back to? I'm always a bit like, don't know if I would actually. Like, what of my, I'm like disease and murdering and
smelliness,
starvation, and those are the sorts of things that spring to my mind, instead of all like imagining all the fancy Tudors in their gowns and stuff. I'm like, realistically, if I was to go back to that era, would I have been a fancy gown lady? Probably not. So I find that really difficult to think of an era I'd love to go back to, because immediately my mind just goes to like the peasant side, and I'm like, I wouldn't like to experience that. No. But I think I do quite like the Tudors. I'm actually really I'm in a Viking stage at the moment. I think it's mainly just being influenced by what I watch on the telly. Yeah. And so I'm just like, so I'm really just being influenced, Anglo-Saxons and all that sort of stuff. So it can change. I'm influenced by the telly.
Whatever's popular, I'm there. No, I'm the same. And I was talking to, who was I talking to? I was talking to Buffy recently, and she really dropped a seed, because I always think of the smells kind of in line with what you were saying there about peasants. And I'm always like, it was just really icky back then. I wouldn't want to. But Buffy always said she thinks about the sounds of the times, because obviously now everything's so like bingy and bongy with your notifications and everything, but back there you wouldn't have had traffic noise or airplane noise, anything like that. And I found that incredibly interesting. But I was talking to Sophie, girl that digs, and she was saying she was having a bit of a Viking thing. So we were talking about ancestry, and we'd both done the DNA test, and we've both got some as well. Danish in there. Yeah, you've done that too. Did you have any Scandinavian in there?
I think mine was Norwegian.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I had Norway, yes.
Yeah, so that kicked off because I've got a tattoo sleeve, and on there I've got a lot of Viking stuff as part of that, because I've got strong females from the past. So I've got a female Viking on there, and all of the different runestones and stuff. So it's amazing where it takes you, isn't it? And I love the fact you're like, whatever's on the telly, that might influence me at the time. What's my favourite?
Well, it spurs my interest and think, well, actually, did that happen? Or, I'm quite crafty, and I'm like, oh, how did they make that? Oh, I love that. Look at the costumes that they've designed in that. So occasionally I'll log on to PlayStation, and I've been playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And that has got me thinking recently, like there's a lot of using the riverways in that game. And now that when I go on a dig and if there's a river there, I'm often thinking, oh, could a boat have got down there? And would that have
Yeah.
been a route for them to go to the next village or something? And that is just me from playing the game.
Yes. Yeah, that's brilliant. My friend's like a level 300 or something on Valhalla, and I'm yet to start, but I'm looking forward to it for exactly that reason. Now you mention it. So that leads on to another question I have about other hobbies that you have, Em. What are your other hobbies that you're into? Obviously, you're a bit of a gamer too.
I do try. So gaming, I will do gaming if I find the time amongst my other hobbies. So
Yes.
I am in my day job. I'm an animator, so that I
Wow.
love my day job. So
Yeah.
I'm often consumed by being creative,
Yes.
and I do a lot of arts and crafts as well. So I dabble in like making a few mosaics. I actually have a sideline hobby where I design and then make enamel pin badges.
Yes.
So yeah, a lot of my time goes into running that as well. I'm a local parish councillor for my village as
Wow.
well. So
Yeah.
helping the community improve and all that sort of stuff. So yeah,
Lovely.
I like to keep really busy and surround myself by history as well, because you'll be surprised at the area you can find history in. So
Mm.
at the parish council at the moment, we are planning for a Remembrance Day,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of like taking the lead on that. And I'm like, yes, we've got to do it. We've got ordered these massive poppies to decorate our little village in, and
Yeah.
I'm laying the wreath this year at the War Memorial.
Oh,
So it's just
wow.
like,
An
oh,
honour.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Fantastic. Oh, that's brilliant. So you're a very busy lady. You do keep yourself dead busy. Back to the history era then. Who is your current favourite monarch or emperor who always gets you interested in their story?
I do like the Tudors, and I love the musical Six. So I don't know if
Oh,
you've ever seen it, but
I haven't seen it. I wanted to go and see it, yeah, this summer, but I missed the boat on the tickets. Tell
yeah,
me.
about Henry VIII's wives. So it's only about an hour long, but they all each one of them kind of get up and do a song, and I became obsessed with that. Um,
Yeah.
so I know all of the songs, and it's actually a really, really interesting musical. But I still don't think that's enough for me to pull into the Tudors. Um, you know what, I quite like George III.
Yes.
He's one of those. I think we often find so many coins with his head on. I think maybe
Mm.
that's it. It's just my favourite because I find so many coins with his head on, and it's like straight away who it is from his coin.
Yeah.
Quite like George III, and they like the Mad King again, kind of going along with musical theme with Hamilton, as he's
Hmm.
like makes an appearance in Hamilton. So
Yeah.
yeah, that maybe George III.
Yeah. You're right. There's a certain colour and feel to the George III coins, isn't there? Even when it's a really crusty one, you just know. You always know. And because it obviously is
Yeah.
long reign, Mad King, like you say. There's that fantastic movie as well, isn't there? That I watched many years ago, The Madness of King George. Brilliant movie. Watch that if you haven't. But yeah, he is a classic. I like your choices. Very good, very good. Okay, so we're moving on now to how you go about getting permissions or any advice you'd have
Mm,
for fellow detectorists in terms of trying to find permissions if they don't have any already or if they want to try and get some more.
sure. So since I've been detecting, I literally primarily only go out with clubs. I have had a permission, and that was during lockdown. I kind of sat there and thought, right, clubs aren't allowed to go out and detect. When lockdown's lifted, what do I want to do? Because clubs don't know when they can get back and detect again. So it's like, maybe I can try and
Yeah.
find permission of my own. And that is when I did able to secure my very first permission. So what I did was just look at my local area and send a few emails out.
Yeah.
And just explained who I was, made sure I had a little bio in there of how long I'd been detecting, and just generally a few things about myself,
Yeah.
and just emailed it off politely, asking if there was any chance that I could detect on their land. And one lady actually did reply to me, and she said, I can give you permission so long as you search for some rings that I've lost.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I said, yeah, fantastic. I'd love to give it a try. So I went down to her land and I met with her. She actually then explained to me that the rings were her mother's that she had been wearing, and her mum has passed away since, but she was wearing her mother's rings and she had lost them while picking grapes off of grapevines.
Oh, wow.
So turned up, first day, detected, no luck. And I thought, oh my God, this, things start to run through your head. And I'm like, I haven't found them, but what if she thinks I have and I've stolen them, or all these sorts of things. So I was just getting really, really paranoid. And then I said to her, right, you know what, I'll be back next weekend if that's okay with you. And she said, yeah, fine, come back down.
Yeah.
So I did. And that is the day I found the rings. And I found one ring, and then a couple of hours afterwards I found the second ring, and it was
amazing.
It was the most incredible feeling in the world, and she was crying, I was crying, and it was just, I loved that, and it kind of then put that sort of trust into her and into me, and we both, she was like, come back whenever you want, and then she then even said to me, oh, our friend lost a ring in the field next door, that's mine, if you go in there and you find it, let me know. A few weeks later, I actually did find that ring as well, so I handed that back into them. So 3 rings recovered off of their site and returned to the owners.
Yeah, well done you. Yeah, a few people have said that as well when you're reaching out for permissions, or if you're putting a little ad up on Facebook or however you're going about it, offer the free sort of jewelry finding service or something finding service. Sometimes people can be doing stuff on their car or something and lose that one bolt. You know what I mean? And especially farmers as well, when they lose keys for things and they haven't got a copy, they will reach out to you, and that's another way then to sort of earn trust and favour and get your permissions.
That's it.
Oh, that's so lovely. That must have been so emotional. Lovely day for you and obviously the lady as well to get the rings back. Brilliant.
Yeah, it was good.
How do you cope then? I don't know if this is relevant to you, Em, because you find a lot of stuff. But how do you deal with any dry spells? What do you tell yourself if you've not found something for a while?
Yeah, well, like you say, generally I'm quite lucky. I go out with my best head on and feel like I'm going to find something, and usually I'm very lucky, and I do. But no, I have been through dry spells. Especially when I first started detecting, I didn't find a hammered coin for 2 years when I first started detecting. So, I'd found odd things, and every time I'd go out on a club dig, people would be finding hammered coins around me left, right and centre. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Why haven't I got a hammered coin? But yeah, so it's 2 years took me to find my first hammered coin. And then it ended up being one of the really tiny, tiny hammers. But I remember it so well. Very fond of it. Still got it. So 2 years.
You always remember your first.
Exactly. 2 years for that one. But recently, it does happen. It does happen to all of us. And a couple of months without finding anything that you're significantly interested by, I suppose, has been my longest dry spell. But usually I try not to think of it in that way. And if I go out metal detecting and I find a coin, I'm generally happy.
Yeah. Something round in the ground, we're happy.
Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah, just keep going. And some weeks I always put myself under pressure that because it's the weekend and I get my detecting day where I don't have to think about like housework and all that stuff. Sometimes I put pressure on myself to go even when I might not be feeling 100%. And I've stopped doing that now. I've gone, no, actually I'm going to have a day in and, clean some finds or clean my cabinet or whatever. And then by the next weekend, I'm really ready to go for it. And like you say, I've got the right mindset, positive mindset. And then more often than not, I do find something then because I'm totally up for it, ready and recharged. Absolutely. Have you had any issues when you've been out detecting, maybe livestock or anything random?
Immediately it goes in my head that I remember we went into a field, I was on a club dig and there was a dead sheep in the field. Unfortunately, one of the sheep had passed away. So that I hate stuff like that, and that made me really, really sad. But we had to, phone up the farmer, and the farmer then actually came and collected it. that, I
Yeah.
suppose, you are in the wildlife scene, in the nature scene, and you are, I suppose, more likely to see those sorts of things in our hobby than most
Yeah.
other hobbies. So, seen a few sad things, and unfortunately, but being around livestock, I suppose that's a risk as well. But
Yeah.
other than that, it's just making sure gates are closed, which luckily I've never had had an issue with that. But there have been instances where landowners have not been given the right information, or there's been some miscommunication somewhere, and I've been on a dig, and I'm marshalling the dig, so I'm in the high vis, and landowners come marching over, and like, oh, I didn't know you'd be here, and it's just, once I had a chat to them, and it's then been some sort of miscommunication along that,
Yeah.
and then they're like, oh yes, no, I forgot. So it's a little embarrassing at first, because you're like, oh my God, like what have I done, and all this sort of stuff. And then actually
Yeah.
it's like,
Did I come on the
oh,
wrong day? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah, I think with the landowners, sometimes they deal with so much, don't they? And then sometimes, yeah, they might get the wrong end stick, like you say. But generally, they're all lovely. But yeah, they have to deal with so much terrible stuff. I don't blame them for sometimes being a little bit nervous themselves. But yeah, they
cautious,
are
yeah.
lovely. Yeah, cautious. That's exactly the right word. Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. Okay, you've already given us so many top tips, but have you got any top tips then for people just starting out in the hobby? What would be your top tip to them?
Yeah. Oh my God. I just think about, like, when I first started out, there was nobody I could speak to or approach. Or I feel like now there are so many avenues to find out information, and, just go out and speak to people. If you're going on club digs, go out and ask questions, and people will love it. People are so keen to teach as well, and to,
Yeah.
like, don't, if you find something and you have a question about your find, like maybe you don't know what it is, go and ask somebody, because often and enough people are like, oh yeah, that's a such and such, and straight away people know what it is, and they want to tell you what it is. So it's not like hidden secrets and all being like, oh, I'm not telling you anything. It's like people want to inspire and educate as well. So, if you're just starting out, don't be scared to approach people and talk to people and get involved. And people open that with, people are there with open arms saying, welcome to our hobby.
Yeah.
So I feel like,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be my top tip, just to go out, don't be afraid, go and enjoy yourself, and ask questions.
Brilliant. And when you were saying earlier that it took you a couple of years to find a hammer coin, I often see, I think it's the Heart of England digs on the YouTube video, Sid Perry. Quite often I'll see him and he's talking to someone that's just found something, a Roman or whatever, and it's a different bit of land. He'll go, oh, let me scan that, because he's got the DS2 now, I think. He's like, no, he hasn't got the DS2. What's he got? He's got something different. I'll think of it in a minute. But yeah, he often just asks to scan over with his detector, so then he can see what type of signal it is, and just little things like that. Everybody's so happy, aren't they, to help out and show off their finds and everything else. So yeah,
That's
I
it.
highly agree with what you've just said there. Brilliant. Okay, so we're going to move on to bucket lister section now, Em. This is everyone's favourite section. What's on your own personal bucket list that you haven't found yet, but you're really eager to find?
So definitely number one up there is a inscribed posy ring. Again,
Yes.
it's kind of that, I love being able to connect it back to something, and give it a date and a name that it used to belong to. So yes, a posy ring with an inscription, like a date and a name, that for me is my, at the moment, ultimate bucket lister.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, that would be wonderful. Yes, to be able to look at the inscription, and if it's got any kind of markings on it or anything, yeah, that would be lovely. So that's one of your bucket list items. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the next section, now this is really important, the ultimate bucket lister list. So our guests, each week we get to put an item onto the ultimate bucket lister list. It can be something out there like a Sutton Hoo hoard, or it can be something kind of normal like a Crotal Bell. But what item would you like to place on the ultimate bucket lister list for our listeners?
I would say, can Can I add the posy ring?
You can add a posy ring. Yeah, we don't have a posy ring yet. And I think that's quite obtainable. You know, a lot are found.
Yeah, let's go for the posy ring because, like you say, it's gold and it's historic, and like you say, it's achievable.
Yes, brilliant. I love that. So we're going to put you on there with the gold posy ring. Good choice. Good choice. I love that. Okay. Anything you would like to promote, Em? What's the address for your Etsy store? Because your enamel pins are wonderful.
So my Etsy store is actually called Emma Youell Studio. So I'm sure if you just pop that into Google or any other search engine, it will bring up the Etsy store, or just go onto Etsy and search for it. It'll be on there as well. And you'll just see loads of my own designed items for sale. So, you know, I've got a few pin badges on there at the moment. I've got a few Christmas card designs on there of finds that I found put into like a Christmas tree design, and
brilliant.
you know, pottery shards. I laid them all out and put them into the form of like a Christmas stocking, photographed it, and then printed it out to Christmas cards. So those are really fun to make, and they've been quite successful in the shop. So yeah.
Nice. And 'tis the season. It'll soon be upon us, won't it? It won't be long. Get in there, get your orders in.
Yeah.
Who would you like to see on the podcast?
This morning I was having a chat with Ben Shires. I don't know if you have you approached Ben Shires? Have you got him on?
It's Ben Shires Detector, Ben.
Yes.
He has said he's going to come on the podcast. We're trying to make calendars and diaries align. But very much want to get Ben on.
He'll be very, very good. I've known Ben for a few years, and we were on a little call this morning, and he said, "Oh, you know," he even mentioned this podcast, and I was like, "Oh, I'm recording this afternoon." He was like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah." So, yeah,
I'll reach out. You've replanted the seed. I'll reach out to him on email again later.
Yeah,
Ben.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, Ben will be a great person to chat to.
Yeah. No, I'm really looking forward to getting Ben on, and he's such a personality. You can see as well from his photographs, and he's found so much wonderful stuff already, hasn't he? I think it was a gold Saxon pinhead as well. He found, I think. Yeah, beautiful.
Super lucky. I was literally with him, and we were walking to the field, and you know, we were having a little chat because he's in the television industry and does voiceovers and things. I do animation and voiceovers work great together. So we was having a little chat about work, and then it was kind of like, all right, we're here at the field, right? Well, good luck. All right, see you later. And literally, when I caught up with him, the first thing he found that day in that field was the Saxon pinhead. And what did I have to show? Barely anything.
That's the way it goes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so listener questions. I did a shout out, let people know that I was lucky enough to be interviewing yourself this morning, Em. And we have one listener question, and this is from Samuel Bleeps. And Samuel asked, do you prefer pasture or arable land to detect on?
Arable, 100%. I have been on pasture. Never really had much luck on pasture. There have been on 2 occasions where I've gone onto pasture and found hammered coin on them, and that absolutely blew me away because every time I go on pasture, I don't really expect anything, especially anything of age. So for me, arable, yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, arable it is. Thank you, Sam, for your question. So, Em, that's it for today. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been so lovely to hear more about yourself and your finds and everything you get up to. It's been lovely, and hopefully we'll get you on for season 2 to see, you know, what the next year has brought you in terms of finds, etc. So, thanks very much.
Fantastic. Thank you for having me on. It's been really good fun.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
And you. Bye.
There you go, everybody. That was Emma Youell, Emloveoldstuff on Instagram. And if you wanted to check out Emma's Etsy shop, it's Emma Youell Studio. You'll be able to find all of her wonderful creations there. So go and check it out. Just a reminder, please have a look and give us a rating if you want to. That will really help the podcast and help it keep going. Also, we have a Patreon. You'll get the episodes a whole day earlier than everybody else if you go and have a look at our Patreon. Lots of really affordable tiers. just go to patreon.com/Detecting History Podcast to check that out. And then we also have our own Etsy store. So if you want to support the podcast, get some merchandise, Christmas is coming, head over to etsy.com/Detecting History Pod. Thanks so much. Have a great week.